Welcome. So, you're looking for the path to financial independence. But what if there was a clear, engineered strategy for that? In this series, we're breaking down a really powerful system, one designed to take you from a standard 9-to-5 to a life of genuine financial choice.
All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are laser-focused on Step 6, building the saving muscle. And let me be clear, this is not about skipping your daily coffee. This is a foundational, architectural step of the entire system. Getting this one step right, it can literally change your entire financial future.
You know, this quote really gets to the very heart of the matter. That first dollar you consciously set aside. It's the hardest because it represents a fundamental shift in your behavior. It's that precise moment your financial future stops being a plan on paper and starts becoming a reality in your bank account.
So where did this powerful strategy come from? Well, it was developed by Tamir Kaham. He's a systems engineer who also happens to be the official Hebrew translator of the financial classic, The Richest Man in Babylon. And it's that very blend of modern engineering and ancient wisdom that makes this entire strategy so incredibly effective. He's also the creator of the YouTube channel, The Golden Path of Financial Independence. So, today we're examining a key part of his system, Step 6 in Stage 2.
Now, before we dig into the mechanics of this, we have to clarify the goal of this path. It is absolutely crucial to understand that financial independence is not the same thing as being wealthy. Financial independence is a specific, engineered state where your passive income covers your living expenses. It's the point where you work because you want to, not because you have to. That is the first goal. Wealth is what comes later if you decide to continue on the path.
Okay, so let's get to the core of a frustration that I think so many of us feel. We work hard, right? We earn a decent living, but it feels like we're just spinning our wheels, just running in place. Why is that? I want to start with a paradox that just feels like the math is completely broken, but it's not. We've all heard stories like this, haven't we? The high-earning doctor who's living paycheck to paycheck, while a school teacher on a pretty modest salary quietly builds a massive fortune. What on earth does this tell us? So the crucial point is this. It is not an income problem. It is a retention problem. You see, financial success isn't determined by how much money flows through your hands. It's determined by how much of it actually sticks to your hands. It's not about what you earn. It is all about what you keep. So, what's the psychology behind this? There's a principle called Parkinson's law. And just like work tends to expand to fill the time you give it, our expenses have this sneaky habit of rising to meet whatever income we have. You get a raise, and for a month, maybe you feel rich. But then, almost without thinking, you find a nicer apartment or start buying the more expensive wine. Your brain sees upgrade available, not surplus capital. This brings us to a fantastic analogy. Think of your income as the speed of a race car. You could be flooring it at 200 miles an hour. Sounds impressive, right? But if you're just driving in a perfect circle, you have incredible velocity, but you have zero displacement. You end up exactly where you started, just with an empty gas tank. A high income without savings is just motion without progress. Okay, so if our default psychology is basically wired to work against us, then willpower alone, well, it's just not going to cut it. We need a better system. We need an engineered countermeasure that works with our human nature instead of fighting against it.
And here we are at the absolute core of the entire strategy. See, most people operate on this broken formula. Income minus spending equals savings, which, as we know, often ends up being zero. The golden path demands a hard, non-negotiable flip of that equation. It becomes income minus savings equals spending. You decide what you're keeping first, and only what is left over is actually available to be spent.
Now, we've all heard the cliche, pay yourself first. But from a systems engineering perspective, what does that really mean? Well, think about it. When you get paid and you immediately pay your landlord, the gas company, Netflix, you are acting as a funding source for their empires. Paying yourself first is a declaration. It's you stating, I am funding the asset owner I am becoming before I fund anyone else. Okay, so that's the what and the why, but how do you actually make this happen? Well, it all comes down to one single, totally non-negotiable action. So how much do you save? The answer actually comes from a gym analogy. You'd never walk into a gym for the very first time and try to bench press 300 pounds, would you? Of course not. You'd start with just the empty bar to get the form right. The real goal of Step 6 isn't the number, it's building the habit. The actual amount is almost irrelevant at first, because if you can't build the discipline to save $10, you are never going to save $1,000.
And this brings us to a rule that is absolutely non-negotiable. This process must be automated. Any system that relies on your discipline month after month is a broken system by design. You set up an automatic transfer for the exact day your salary hits. The money literally vanishes into your future before your present self can even see it. This is a technique called engineering scarcity, and it triggers your natural ability to adapt and live on whatever is left.
Now, doing this is going to bring up a very tough, very logical question. This is probably the most controversial part of this whole strategy, but I promise you it is also the most profound.
I mean, it's a completely fair question, right? From a purely mathematical standpoint, saving money in an account earning maybe 1% interest while you have credit card debt that's costing you 20%, it feels like a guaranteed loss. So why would this system ever recommend doing it?
Let's be real here. If you were a spreadsheet, a robot just running on pure logic, then yes, of course, you'd pay off the 20% debt first. But you're not a spreadsheet. You're human. The system says you have to fix the driver, which is your habits, before you can fix the car, which is your debt. If you pay off all that debt, but your old spending habits are still there, guess what? The debt will just come right back. This strategy forces you to build the muscle of creating a surplus first.
So, when you really get down to it, the true return on investment for this step, it isn't measured in interest rates. The ROI is psychological. It is 100% an identity shift. You are proving to yourself month after month that you are no longer just an employee who spends everything they make. You are becoming an asset owner who keeps capital, and that shift, that is priceless.
Let's pull up the strategy map and see how this all connects. We are right here at step 6, which is the absolute engine of stage 2, building financial resilience. This is the step where we actually start filling the tank. And notice how it's all guided by that parallel backbone, step 13, continuous learning, which powers every single stage of this entire journey.
So let's just do a quick recap of the big ideas here. First, wealth is what you keep, not what you earn. Second, you have to flip the financial equation to income minus savings equals spending. Third, automation isn't a suggestion, it's the only rule that matters. And finally, the true goal right now is that psychological win, shifting your identity to that of a saver.
Okay, before we wrap up, we have to pause for this important disclaimer. All of this content is strictly for educational purposes. It is not personalized financial advice, and there are absolutely no guarantees of results. You are responsible for consulting with qualified professionals and making your own informed decisions. And this all sets us up perfectly for our next explainer. We're going to take the capital that we're now consistently saving and use it to build our financial fortress in step 7, the emergency fund. To see all the charts and hear the strategy architect himself break this all down, check out the full YouTube channel, The Golden Path to Financial Independence. So your next step is simple. Set up that one automatic transfer. Start building the muscle today. We'll see you in the next explainer.